I personally think it's going to be a contested Democratic convention, which would be super cool because then we can get to see history, right? But we'll see. We'll see. Chinese car exports, which countries have been female-led? Hell no, we won't, not us. And I don't know, I'll be honest, I don't even think in my lifetime. Which is billionaires? Apple and Tesla dreadful too instead of magnificent 7? Yeah, I can see that. NVIDIA, right? World's richest people in 20, whatever. Oh no, China is the world leading in battery recycling. God bless the little hodes. Right? So this is a super cool thing. I don't know if any follow Timo. He's actually out of Canada. He's with Fidelity Canada, and he's their top economist. The guy's a bright dude. So he basically did this. I want to show you this. This is really super cool. He did it basically as a clock, okay? Right? The cyclical bull markets and where we are, okay, and how much more. So based on the average cycle, it's 6 p.m. Okay, so we're halfway there based on if you look at the previous, and that's super cool. I think it's super cool. But anyways, he's a cool dude. So he's just showing his dot plot there. I gotta bring him up more. I like his charts. I gotta bring him up more. You know, positioning. I don't know what to tell you about that. Anyways, I like it. Hey, Mikey, let's do it. Okay, so we got the Timmer thing, right? Brent filling with 90, we talked about that. You know, it's getting a little bit old. The future of email of it, whatever, I don't want to talk about that. Email, I don't want to. Encouraging sign? I don't know. You know, it's going to happen when nobody expects it, right? I'm just saying, when you least expect it, we're going to have a rip your face off rally. So, you know, look, you gotta have something, right? Say, it's really painful and difficult. Gasoline futures highest, I said, quote unquote, this is the strong seasonality for gasoline. I said last month, quote unquote, you have to, you know, if nothing, please, just maybe listen to what I have to say on the commodity side. I started in 1979. This is muscle memory for me, a lot of this stuff. So, and what's really important is, what the value is, I'm showing this room for years now how you make money in commodities, right? You can make money in commodities. It's not sexy, nothing exciting, whatever. Got into gold early, got into cryptos early. It's not sexy, silver. It's not sexy, but you can make money. Right? Now we have the breakout on the silver, but it's not confirming and holding. 2634 is the breakout on silver. Let's see, we have to hold, consolidate, then continue on, right? US homes are getting smaller. Well, didn't know that. Well, I guess cost of making them, right? Used to be 2,400, now it's 2,200. Who knew? All outlets, MTD largely on easing volume decline. Sales growth for both channels accelerated in March. Dollar sales, volume and buy. Supermarket inflation down to 2.6. I don't know about you, but I don't see it. You know what I mean? I just, am I allowed to say that? I just don't see it. You know what I mean? I don't know. We'll see. Well, I go, anyway, I'm not gonna talk about that. Negative reversions for the S&P 493 for the aggregate 5 negative MAC. you know, no matter how you slice and dice it, this will go down in graduate school, etc. The brokenness of the S&P index. This will be historic and will be written about in history books, the brokenness of this. Even if you look at the dot-com bubble, there was more breadth than what we have right now. But this is the S&P, mind you, right? All right, so 10 largest stocks trade at P 26 times versus 47 at peak. Okay, I continue to say this. The reason why these stocks are up is because the forward PE multiple of 26 is not outrageous with the growth potential of these stocks. So why is it that analysts, people get on, and say top end, extension overbought, top end, yada, 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 yada. I don't understand it. This is nothing like the dot-com bubble yet. It is not. And I literally don't get it. Okay, I just don't get it. But this is when someone says something, okay, you need to basically confirm or deny, right? Because people say things that don't make sense a lot of times. Number one, or number two is they've been so wrong for so long. Why even listen to them? I guess is the other question. S&P excluding the 10 top. So don't forget, if you look into the gross versus value or whatever you want to look at, the S&P is the only one that is broken, right? Where growth stocks are not versus value stocks in the S&P, because it's just a few, have not broken out to all-time highs. That needs and should change somewhere along the line, I guess. Here we go. Seasonality, my friends, non-presidential, presidential, dip in March, bought up in April, sold off, right? And then you buy this in mid-May. Who knows, maybe it's earnings, I don't know, but it's really tough. I understand, but that's what it looks like. So what it looks like from 1976. But it's nice to look and see, but we have a paradigm here that you have to understand in terms of quantitative easing, in terms of balance sheet, the amount of liquidity in the market, right? Ain't like anything else we've seen. This has been going on since 2008. So you do the math on that in terms of presidential cycles. Okay. And the balance sheet keeps growing. So the amount of liquidity in the system. The only thing, it's the economy, stupid, earnings. That's it. The Fed is pretty much paused, data dependent, whatever. They're not going to hike, but I don't think they're going to cut as much as everybody expects. So that's the narrative there. But they're not going to cut for a reason. So you don't pick tops, or you trim. And that's exactly what we've been seeing is trimming. And this is going to take time. And Twins has said it multiple times. It could take months. For all intents and purposes, okay, here's silver. The measured move target for this uptrend is either 27.12 or 27.43. Let's go. Good morning. Good morning, son. How are you?
Good.
Okay. So silver, yada, yada, yada. Supposedly the volume data on the stock charts is updated. As long as it's above the 20-day moving average, we're still in an uptrend. It held. All the rest is noise. See, I understand, but I don't look at daily. I look at weekly 10 EMA, but that's okay. See what this guy has to say. His new one is AMAT, S&P earnings, unemployment level. Okay. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I know, but I don't get it. What do we got going on here? That gold has a quarterly breakout now, silver has a quarterly breakout. LFG. So I got some SLV on. I trimmed a little bit of the leveraged one. I got some silver junior miners on. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I don't, today feels like kind of a quiet day-ish. We'll see if we can get something going on with the small caps today. I don't know, but this is where I'm making my money, is on oil, gold, silver, right? This is silver versus NVIDIA. I don't understand this, but they're using First Majestic. I don't get it, but okay. I don't know. That is a spread I would not have put on, but I guess it makes sense. So this is the undervaluedness. So maybe AG is worth it. I know that it was asked from one of our new members. Maybe it's worth it. It's a small little trade. Let's see what AG is in. So what I like to do is, okay, so AG ETF holdings. Let's do this. Maybe it's under First Majestic. Okay. So SIL comparison, small cap, silver minus SOAR. So that would probably be the juniors, SILJ. See what they got. Where are the holdings? Here we go. It doesn't give you, it doesn't list it, but it's Canada. So anyways, I'm in the SILJ, but I suspect it would be there. Right? What does Onwick have to say? He says till June, blow off in recession. Anyways, I guess nothing. Michael McDonald, I like his stuff. He hasn't done anything recent though, since April Fools. All these guys don't update. Let's see if Tommy has anything to say. Join Mug Newton. Lawrence, while he's still a believer in this, both thesis the risk reward in the market is changing. Okay. All right, Baki, what you got? See what you got to say. No comment? Nope. He's a crypto guy. This is the dynamic duo. This is Robert Money. He's really. He actually was a mentor for Caleb Borden, for those of you who are interested. He's got nothing to say. Let's see what our Borden figures have to say. SPX. Here we go. Low end. Boop, boop. Here we go. See what happens. All right, so Bitcoin, sloppy choppy for the next 6 to 8 weeks. TNX, looking like it wants to break out. SPY, observation not forecast. The fibs are there. Look, I mean, what have we been doing? Sideways consolidation, yada, 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 yada. BlackRock's tokenized fund has drawn at least 240 million since debut. Okay, digital liquidity fund, invests in cash, US Treasury bills, and repurchase. Okay, cash on the sidelines. There you go. Larry Fink has called on baby boomers to help younger generations and warns of a looming retirement crisis. I would agree with that. US banks are snapping up treasury at the fastest clip since the peak of the pandemic. Bought 103 billion of treasuries and non-mortgage debt from federal agents in the 2-week period ending March 13th. Is more urgent than I agree. Well, okay, so what's going to happen? I mean, I know, but nobody will have the courage to do anything about it. ADP report, 3 biggest increases in Goldilocks. Yep. I'm just saying nobody is going to have the courage to do anything about it. But when, I don't know. Quarterly performance, there you go. Over a decade, so this was recorded back-to-back quarterly gains of 10%. It had only happened a total of 7 previous times back in 90. None of the previous instances has led to protracted weakness. This is why momentum begets momentum, and you don't pick tops in a bull market. You trim, but you don't pick a top in your BTFD on technicals. All right, manage money. Purchased 3.6 billion from March 12th to 12th, the biggest 1 week since. What does that tell you? Okay. They needed it and they wanted it. Like I say, the optics of not having some of these names on your books was pretty poor. You see. All right, let's see what you got. Gold is one of those assets which have elevated options activity. Option weeks play a big role in the price. Understand what you trade. We traded the price action. Well, sorry, Alessi, but I got us in a lot earlier than you did. Alfie. Okay. So, inflation-adjusted U.S. fiscal deficits. World War I, World War II, great financial crisis, COVID. We're here. So, we ain't as bad as the great financial crisis, and obviously we're nowhere near. But this kind of shows you what's going on. I'm just saying. AI, NVIDIA, buy Tesla, Roblox, PSA Twist, sell DraftKings Access. What? It's like, yeah, I don't know what. I mean, sell. Anyways. So I was talking to Mav, and he trimmed back a lot of his NVIDIA, just so you know, and he's our semi-specialist. He's in and out every now and, but for, when he's in, I pick his brain, okay? For public pensions over the last 23 years, there has been significant decrease in allocation to equities. Conversely, increase in share funds has been allocated to private equity, hedge funds, and real estate. So what it looks like, friends: equities, fixed income, private equity. Isn't that interesting? That's pretty cool, actually. What could go wrong with that? Let's see what's going on in China. Oh, pandas. First giant panda that was born in the Republic of Korea, released by China to the country in 2016. I love the pandas. Okay. Sweden Central Bank asked for 4.1 billion from lawmakers to cover bond losses. Look, I mean, does anybody really understand how expensive quantitative easing tightening is to central banks on their balance sheet? But don't forget the dirty little secret here in the United States. This is what's really shocking, is the amount of, we had the largest gold reserves as a central bank globally, and yet we still had that large loss. That just goes to show you how out of whack we are in terms of this balance sheet. When you do that quantitative tightening, it's expensive. It's expensive. Switzerland, Sweden, they all need money. Now, some of these, why don't you sell your equity, your gains on stock to cover that? I'm just saying. I don't know. You better put in your budget and a budget line, right? Copper, China's copper smelters agreed to production cuts. China's copper remain under pressure on a lack of mining supply, yada, yada, yada. That's gonna be informed. Now, one way to go. Seriously, guys. This is like taking candy from a baby. They are so wrong all the time. This is why this is what I have to say. Why do you keep calling these people the smartest ones in the room? Bond institutions on the interest rate side. They have been wrong for 2 years now. Because they're older and they don't understand the paradigm shift. When 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2, you better pivot or figure out why. It's because the models are broken. And I'm an old fund, and even I can see, because of the lack of imagination, how brokenness these bond institutions are. How do you get a recession and 4 cuts by December? There's no data that supports it. Jobs, 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 jobs. But even then, it's the economy, stupid. Okay, it's earnings, stupid. The reason why 4 stocks are up is because they keep knocking it out of the park in terms of their earnings, and they're deserving of it. I just, this is why I'm on here, because I'm the one who says macros matter. I'm the one that says, okay, how do you react to XYZ? Because macros matter. Most investment, this is true, actually. Okay, permanent bears will be equally as wrong as millennials as they were about boomers. I don't know. Millennials added substantially more to their ports at the 2020 low than boomers. Whatever. Bearish, whatever. Whatever. Look, if you weren't in Mag 4, whatever you want to call it, NVIDIA Plus, whatever, okay, you underperformed. That's it. MSOS has reached 1.12 billion under management. Well, that's kind of scary. Now, this has a lot of Canadian names. I still, from what I see, and please don't shoot the messenger here. Okay, but from what I see, the market is not ready to get into, they don't want to deal with the US pot stocks. They don't want the Canadian pot stocks. They don't want those Fs. I understand it, and don't shoot me, but it's just not there. It's just not there. Okay. And I'm sorry, but it's not there yet. And I'm in it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm in ACB, CGC, but ACB was a huge winner for me yesterday. Right. Bonus is more different. Unable to find support. Oops. Next level down. These standard deviations. VWAP Spider, S&P Weekly. Right here. This is the next standard deviation. See how it plays out. Right? So these are like TTM, LRC, Bollinger's, stuff like that. Let's get back to this. Let's see what's going on here. Apple's latest research says tech giant will be an AI winner. Okay, well. Roger and I opine about the current marketing/management team. I said it. Pauses chip making after earthquake hits island nation. Costco launches a weight loss program for members. Seriously. Okay. Archer Aviation prepares for direct competition with Joby. Nice. We'll see how that goes. Disney. Calm. INTC. All right, so Calm. Let's talk about Calm. I mean, there were a ton of call buying in Calm. I didn't follow it, but there was a ton. Calmaine. I should have, but I didn't. Wolf Speed slips as well as Focus downgrades. Tesla takes, whatever. Now let's see what I still find this really amusing. All right, Navient, underweight to neutral, UPS, Oliver. I mean, you can't get behind the 50%. All right, let's see what we got here. We've got a lot of downgrades on valuation lately. All right, let's see what we got here. Wolf Speed, overweight to equal weight, but a 10% higher. What can I tell you? NVEI, Canaccord, buy to hold valuation, but a little bit higher, EDR, Endeavor, right? We know why, buy neutral valuation, well, buyout. Right? Well, I don't know about that one. I know that South Beach mentioned it. All right, here we go. Bookings, Airbnb, go team Airbnb. This is one of my 2024 picks. We'll see. So far, so good. Affirm, hold, Needham, Money Lion, SoFi. Okay, so this is the Kyle from Needham, 70% start, so no schlub. Prime Medicine, 87% higher. Outperform from initiation. Wedbush, right? And then you go. Okay, here we are. Well, every day we look at this. Every day we look at this, and every day, yes, I don't understand. And like I say, a month ago it was at 2%, now it's at 12%. That's one cut. So at least they're getting smarter about it. I was pounding the table. I've been pounding the table for a while on this. Just don't get it sometimes. What do we got? Inverse ETF 5 coming down. Platinum entering strong seasonality. Copper continue to have strong seasonality, but be careful with this on the extension. Okay, it's long in the tooth, I guess. If you buy in January and we're here, 2/3 has already happened, so kind of watch over your shoulder. Silver, strong seasonality for April, then it kind of comes in. Like I said, I'm watching over my shoulder for this as well on the retail side. Okay, momentum indicators pile up. Okay, so if you just buy when these indicators line up, okay? All right, this goes back to 1942. S&P 500 using all three momentum strategies, okay? Average, median, one minimum. And you can see you have had bear markets in this. This is what happens when they're inactive, okay? This is what happens when they're active, right? And it started in March 31st, 2024. You can see here, it went on for 8 months, right? This basically was a year. This basically was 9 months. A year, right? A year and a year. Okay, it just started. Okay, believe it or not. All right. So Reader's Digest version is this is not a 1-month trick pony. Front end reset, except for XLE, right? XLI, XLV, XLY, right? McClellan oscillator never really, but reset, as you can see. Even the summation reset a little bit. IWMQs, right? And the Dow, right? We see some resets. Remember, this was all rosy, not so much anymore. And here you go. I mean, there's nothing. There's no extensions here, at least on the optics heat map. Except the bonds are down there, and the Eurodollar is always up here, and then marijuana is up there. Here's the 20-day. This is cocoa, right? That's coming in a little bit, right? Let's look on the bond side, right? 20-year TLT, this is where you look to buy. But this is really hard because this is like scalping, right? And like I said, we'll have to see how this plays out. I don't know, right? Here's on the macro side, available cash, right? Fund flows, equity money market ratios, rising, right? Retail money market ratios, right? 2022 coming down now, right? Mutual fund cash levels, right? And consumer confidence is bouncing. And then, like I say, front end, I mean, it's nice to look at, but irrelevant to some degree. The Dow definitely has a tough month. Even the NASDAQ has a tough month, okay? And it's basically the S&P has the best of the indices, and that's it. And this is the weakest. So, oi, they. All right, let's take a peek here. Bonds. I know. There's the yield curve. 1 month, 1 month. What I mean, okay. You can't. You really can't micromanage this stuff, guys. It's we're in a range. We bounced off of the low end of the range in terms of yield. Now we'll see if it's it should make sense to everybody, right? Germany, France down, Spain, China, Japan, Australia, Hong Kong. All right, this has not been updated. I'm disappointed it's not updating. All right, here's the balance sheet. Now there's 2 ways to look at the balance sheet. This is one of them. And in this one, as you can see, it's coming down, okay? And that's a 17%. But like I say, if you look at it from a quarterly basis, from financial crisis of 2008, We're up 637%. Just saying. And then they say they're not gonna do any more. I don't know, I don't believe them. Like I said, I think we're in the mid here. We've talked about this. This is a reversion to the mean. This goes back quite a bit, right? 1915, if you want to be personal about it. So that's why I said, I think we've kind of because look, deglobalization is expensive. Productivity is what drives us. 30-year mortgage, we talked about that. 2.5, bouncing. Nice, we like that, but that's weekly. Here's 5.10, holding. See if it can continue, still positive. We like that. Here's the 10-year. This is the yield. We talked about that. This is the top end of the Bollinger. No, I'm sorry. This is the 200 EMA on the quarterly. But look, I mean, we're not gonna. I would be shocked if we break through this level. I said this is the bottom, this is the top, and now we're kind of in the upper quadrant-ish. So just range bound. All right, that was gold, silver. All right, here's the 1030. Still positive. I mean, it feels kind of like this may be the one right here now. Which is not bad. So the standard deviations have come in quite a bit in terms of volatility, which we'd like to see. This obviously is still the steepest in terms of the inversion, but it's going in the right direction. It's got a long way to go, but it came off of this, right? It never got to here. So we'll see. Oh, yeah? Don't forget, and I said this multiple times, 2022 to 2026, right? Those are the sweet spots in a decade. Statistically, we've talked about that. Twins is posting about it. 2022 to 2026, and then basically, that's why I think we do get the recession, but I think the timing's all off. That's all. I don't know. China, they're gonna go a lot lower than that.
All right, Beth, ready to pop on here. Alrighty, guys, let me just pop up the screen share here. We get right into it. So if you guys are new to chat, have we done so, make sure to click on that Discord link that's emailed to you. You're gonna pop into chat. It's gonna look something a little bit like this. Just gonna load this up. A little bit like this. First area to go to when you guys do come in, click on that disclaimer section, give that a read, as well as go to the new to chat information section, scroll to the very, very top. Top of the section, you see a link to the disclaimer, as well as this bolded risk reward section. Super important to understand both in regards to risk reward, guys. Most important ratio in trading, so definitely worth checking out there in that regard. Continue to scroll down. We have the summary of how this chat works, breaks down all the channels, work on the left-hand side, so you can probably navigate the chat throughout the day. Important to know where to be looking. Continue to scroll down. We have how to read alerts on the opposite and equity side, breaking down how to read those from both sides. Pretty straightforward in that regard. Continue to scroll down. We have Spartan's rules that we use Monday to Thursday in regards to controlling risk, scaling in, scaling out, trading different price contracts, etc., etc. Below that, SPX rules that we use every single day. Definitely worth checking out there. Continue to scroll down. We have any of the small account less than 10K, breaking down. You do a smaller account less than 10K. Some rules, information, discipline you can put in place to get better manage your account. And lastly, how to pick ideas from an options or equity perspective right there. Pre-market tickers on watch. What do we got going on today, guys? A couple things. Tesla, SMCI, MSTR, play LGVC in ABIO. So Tesla breaking up. So, basically gapping down. Elon Musk some negative comments in regards to those delivery numbers and Q1. SMCI gapping down in sympathy with the market. MSTR gapping up in sympathy with Bitcoin. Play Dave & Buster's reports fourth quarter fiscal year end 2023 financial results gapping up. LGVC, Lamb Global Venture shares holders approved business combination with the Nuvo Group. And then we have the ABIO gap up. They entered in definitive agreement to combine companies in all stock transaction. And yeah, get a nice little gap up on that as well. Let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint intraday. So first two we're looking at, guys, Tesla, SMCL. Let's rip through these charts. Pivot to the upside, 163.26 level holds, 167.50 to 170.51. Unable to hold 160.24. 156.38 on the downside. Going to be leaning on the bullish side. Sorry, bearish neutral side today. Looking for continuation lower if that pivot point is unable to hold. Let's take a look at SMCI. Gap areas. Should be good. So you got a little bit of an EMA support break there, or test, I should say, in the short term again. So pivot to the downside today would be 974.72 levels unable to hold. Be looking for a continuation of 933.87 to 905.60. Able to hold 1005 to 1049 on the upside. Going to be leaning bearish. If that actually, no, I'll be leaning more on the bullish neutral side because that is support. So looking for a retest of that pivot point this morning, then we can see what happens there. That's Tesla. That is SMCI. Take a look at MSTR in play. Pretty impressed with how all this thing. Oh, bounced off the lows yesterday and held up. 1592 will be the pivot to the upside today. Level hold 1645. That level breaks. We got room for continuation on this MSTR into 1701. Unable to hold 1528 to 1467 on the downside. Going to be leaning bullish only if that pivot point is able to hold. Let's take a look at play. So 65.56. All right, 65.24 pivot, level hold 67.25, 69.29. Unable to hold, we look for pullback to reward 62.86 to 60.89 on the downside. Here leaning bullish. Looking for a continuation push higher if that pivot point is able to hold. So that is MSTR and that is play. All right, let's take a look at LGBC and ABIO. You're gonna have to just do a fib on this thing. All right, pivot to the upside today, 23.22 level holds 26.95, 32.02. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback on this LGBC into 1988. Sorry, 1998 to 1442 on the downside. Going to be leaning bullish only if we get above that pivot point again. And then we got that ABIO. Pivot 336. Level holds 377, 435. Unable to hold, we look for pullback towards 287 to 244 downside, leaning bullish. Looking for a continuation push higher if the pivot point's able to hold. It's LGBC, ABIO. All right, let's take a look at the spine fact. So 518.11 guys, pivot to the upside today. Level holds 519.06 to 520.27. 520.31, I should say. Unable to hold, look for a pullback towards 516.58 to 515.07 downside. Going to be leading on the bullish neutral side there today. If the pivot point is able to hold. Take a look at the rest of the thing here. We could potentially see like another little dip by today. Market, depending upon if that pivot holds. We still see what happens in that regard. The weekly and daily still look okay. I guess more like the daily looks not as great. Obviously, the weekly looks fine. So keep an eye on that. $168.38 pivot to the downside today. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback towards 166.88 to 165.58. Able to hold 170.30 to 171.96 on the upside. Going to be leaning bearish, looking for continuation lower on that 168.38 if the pivot point is unable to hold. That's Apple. Let's take a look at Amazon. It's 180.79 pivot level holds 180.187 to 180 307 on the upside. Unable to hold 179.90 to 179.21. Gonna be leaning bullish troll on Amazon, looking for continuation for try. Take a look at Netflix. $616.08 pivot. Level hold 628.55 to 634.55. Unable to hold. 608.58 to 605.38 on the downside. Going to be leaning bullish only if we get above that pivot and hold today. Should not a bad looking bounce on Netflix. Let's see some more if that pivot point can be reclaimed. Take a look at Meta. $497.40 pivot level holds 521. That level breaks. We got room for continuation into the 503.45. Unable to hold 495.14, 492.51. Downside leaning bullish neutral as well. And last but not least, guys, let's take a look at Google here. $153.75 pivot level holds 155.80 to 157.32. Unable to hold, we look for pullback towards 152.13 to 150.10 on the downside. Going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side there today, looking for continuation push higher. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pass over to Selby. You guys want to type up that pre-market action plan, then we'll do a quick little recap for the open. Selby, if you're ready, she's all yours.
All right, hey guys. Okay, let's see what's going on. Futures down again, right? Spies on the daily have broke the support 1017, and I would imagine if we get 1 or 2 more days down, they could get across. But I'm concerned with weekly crosses, not daily crosses. Although we haven't had a daily cross in, oh shit, I would say mid-November, mid-October. So this trend that we've been in has been holding really well for a long time. We've broken that trend along the way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And that's why I stick to the weekly, okay? The daily can give you a lot of false indications. So the weekly generally does not. So we'll see what happens, but for now I'm watching that closely. But I do think that the market is priced for perfection, quite frankly. So there's not a lot of wiggle room. And there's a lot of stuff out there that could either benefit or hurt the market. Lower rates would benefit. Geopolitical stuff getting worse could hurt. You know, oil prices are, you know, kind of marching up a little bit. So there's a lot of stuff out there. But right now, the charts are pretty good. On the Qs, this is going to cross as well. Very similar to the SPYs. No surprise, right? Because, you know, just a few stocks make up the bulk of these indexes. They're market cap weighted. And so the Qs have the same stocks more or less, you know. Qs are 100, right? But the bigger names are in there, and the bigger names are in the S&P. So these charts by, I wouldn't say design, but by, you know, just the way they're laid out are going to look the same, you know. That's the way the market has been setting up. Russell came down the last couple of days. There too, they broke EMA support on the daily, but that weekly is pretty good, right? So I think we're kind of in a flex point, and we'll see how it resolves itself. If I'm a betting man, I would say they resolve itself to the downside because we've had 2 exceptional quarters, and we're entitled to a break. Let's look at the transports. This one is waste of time, doesn't ever move. And I'm looking back years. And the utilities, quite frankly, are not much different. You know, they go up, down, but to make real money, you're not making them in these kind of stocks. You're just not. All right. So that's the technicals. Now let's look at the bond market and all that jazz. Okay, see what we come up with here. So rates are up again, the 10 years at 440, well, thereabouts. So we're higher than when Powell spoke, what is it, 2 weeks ago? And that, you know, gives me pause on that that consensus of 3 rate cuts. 2 year is at a higher level than higher or at the same level that when he spoke. So no indication there of anything changing. And the spread is 33. So it's down on the lower end of a range, but it's still in the range. And the bond market's telling me, basically, and I don't give a shit what these Fed governors say, guys. I really could give a shit less. Bond market tells you what you need to know. And the bond market's telling me maybe we'll get a cut, maybe we won't. I don't think they even know yet. So we'll see. As far as rates in London, pretty much unchanged on the day. And the Eurozone, pretty much the same, with the exception of Italy. And I don't think Italy is a fair representation of anything. Let's look at commodities. So we have oil up again, clearly out of that 70-80 range that we were looking at for a really long time. Natural gas has inched up somewhat. I think the point of least resistance is probably up, but we'll see. I mean, it's been a lug. Gold has been in fuego, as we know. All right, that's been extraordinary. Silver is up another 2.5% today. I came in long that. Copper is firmly above 4. So I think that whole copper plot complex is really good. They have an increased supply and demand is increasing. So what do you think prices are going to do? You don't have to be a genius. As far as we got cocoa down 2.67%. Kramer talked about it last night, thinking prices will come down eventually. I think he's probably right. Cocoa's up to coffee's up at a high that is up, but I think all these things kind of trade on their own merit. Currency wise, dollars up in North America, up against the Asian currency, 723 now on the Chinese currency, pretty flat against the euro and the pound, and the currencies are not really the main thing here. 107, 125 on those two, and currencies have been very quiet. Crypto, so we had really these crypto got hit a little bit yesterday, but by and large, this is pretty good. The thing's been hot as a pistol. So today, Bitcoin's down 0.2, Ethereum's up a drop, and Solana's up 1%. Not much going on there. And let's look at the foreign markets. So we have FTSE down 0.3, DAX up 0.1. Nothing doing there. Nikkei down 1%, China down a little bit, 0.3, and Hong Kong's down 1.2%. And Taiwan on that earthquake down 0.63. So I remember years ago there was an earthquake in Japan, and it affected some of the semiconductor output. It doesn't look like that's the case here because these stocks would be up, not down. That being said, I remember back then, and I remember Micron went from like 50 to 100 in a really short amount of time. That doesn't appear to be the case this time around. So we'll see if there's aftershocks or what have you. But for now, I think they're very lucky. And that's that. So that's that. We got banks and Fed today. We have 5 Fed governors speaking today. We had, I think, 4 yesterday. And we have Powell speaking today in California at 12:15 to talk about the economy. So something may come out of that. We don't know. All right. So we have to keep an eye on that. 12:15 today. All right. Sam Stovall, who's a historic, he looks at history and talks about the market. He sees, when we have a strong first quarter like we had, 12% or better, the average second quarter gain is 3.5%. And of the 13 out of the 15 times we've had a 12% return in Q1, 86% of the time you had a correction of at least 5% that year, with an average of 11%. So I guess if you look at the law of averages, there's a good chance that we get a 10% correction somewhere along the way. That would not surprise me. All right, so okay, good to know. Put it in the back of your head. There's nothing you can do with it. All right, Powell, I told you, Eurozone inflation came in better than expectations. We were looking for 2.6, it came in 2.4. Remember, on that VFC report yesterday, the way the stock got smashed, all the weakness that they talked about was coming out of Europe. So I think their economies are in worse shape than ours. And if your company is Eurocentric, maybe you take a good hard look at it. Okay. I think that's an interesting thing. We know about the Taiwan earthquake, and Taiwan evacuated its workers, and now they're back in the factories. So it looks like, other than, well, let's put it this way. It doesn't look like the semiconductor industry was influenced. As far as other things, I have no freaking idea. All right, NATO is discussing putting together a $100 billion fund for Ukraine. And it seems as though the US government wants to finally roll up their sleeves and talk about what to do as far as giving money to some of our allies, like Ukraine, moving forward. So we'll see if they can pass something there. And that's that. Noted Tesla bear saying that he thinks the stock could go bust. This guy's been shorted since 2020. I think he's smoking something, but whatever. And Kathy Wood, she talked about EVs today when she was on TV. She says basically that she thinks the prices for an EV can be cut in half in the next 5 years. And that in the next 5 years, 75 to 80% of all sales will be electric. I don't know. But if they can get a 500-mile range, I think she's right. If they keep it in the 200s, then I think there's no way. But it does appear that they're figuring out how to get to do a better job as far as range. We'll see. RFK Jr. spoke last night. He was saying that Biden is a bigger threat to democracy than Trump. I think you all can argue that in your own head like I did. But I think we'd all agree we'd like to see somebody other than these two knuckleheads, but we'll see. All right, Powerball jackpot $1 billion. A lot of analysts think that this market is priced for perfection. I agree with that. What else we got here? They're talking about a buyout of the Atlanta Braves, BATRA. Rosenblatt's thinking it's worth $53 a share. I think they could sell this thing whenever they decide faster than you can scratch your ass. There's probably 20 guys who are willing to buy the Atlanta Braves. So I think it's up to the sellers. And in this case, it's Liberty, right? And Malone. Trump, he's suing the founders of, his SPAC. I never saw a guy who spent more time suing people, quite frankly. I think it's disgusting. This guy spends all his time in court, whether it's against him or he's being aggressive or whatever the case may be. Tesla shares dropped from that delivery problem they had. Intel talking about their foundry business. They lost $7 billion in 23. They think they'll be start to make money maybe 2027-ish. So a loss leader for these guys. They have two businesses, right? They make chips for others and they make chips for themselves. To lose $7 billion, and their revenues were only like 23 billion. So 23 billion in 22, and they lost 5.2 billion. And then they lost in 23, 7 billion. Doesn't sound like the greatest business, but they think they're going to make money in 27. I would take the other side of that. Okay. We discussed Taiwan. Stocks in China and Hong Kong in the last 3 years have lost $4.8 trillion in market cap. That's more than the entire market cap of India. And in Disney, we should find out today about Disney. The one thing I bought this morning, Roger, who asked that question, Rob, I bought the VVPR at 575 because there was no stock outstanding, and you know, I thought that was an interesting play. I think it could still go higher. It could be one of those stocks that really runs with 18 million in market cap and unable to ascertain, you know, how much money they're going to make on the back end of this thing. I thought it was a slam dunk. Other than that, is there anything that's turning me on? We'll go right to that because that's obviously what you guys want to hear. I'm going to be watching these GE names a lot because that range that it had yesterday was extraordinary, right? We had GEV up what 10 or 12 at one point, and it closed down on the day. And GE had a similar range, so I think you got to focus on those two names because of the volatility. I'll look at that. The head scratcher for me is this Phillips Van Heusen. Every analyst, almost to a man, maybe the exception of Morgan Stanley, is banging the table on this stock. And my question I'm asking myself is, do I wait a quarter to see if they can right the ship, or do I start trading it now from the long side? And I'm wrestling with that. I don't know what to do, but I'm going to watch it and I'll let you know if I do something. Okay, that's the one thing. This CPNG also is acting better. And I have I have a thing for this because of, I think Druckenmiller is so good and he's so big in this that I'm waiting for that flex point to get involved, and I think one might be there. So that's another thing I'm watching really carefully. And I would say that is it at the moment. Okay, oils don't interest me at all. Bitcoin, kind of not. I think that's what, and I think this market is a very spastic trading market since the 2 days that I've been here. Okay, so not my kind of tape because the individual names you could make money on, but there's been no lineality to the market. Yesterday we opened down 50 handles and basically we're there all day. So I didn't think there was a lot of money to be made. Made a little bit. And Monday was kind of like a yawn. So that's my story with that. Okay. Earnings wise, they had this play was down 5 yesterday, and then it turned around and was up. So I guess they had something to say in the conference call. They got people change their mind. CalMaine was good. Venda, VNDA, OLMD. SIG was good also. LENZ had positive data. SIG, this one's kind of interesting. They bought back 50% of the convertible preferred, and then they said what their earnings will be now that they bought that back. So they got a little pop on that. Owl, AWL, bought acquired an insurance business. It's up on that. VVPR, I told you, they're basically taking a subsidiary and throwing into a SPAC. And we don't know what the SPAC's going to do. So you get the SPAC on the back end. I think it's pretty interesting. So that's why I bought that, DNA had positive news. This is the biggest piece of shit ever, this stock. So I wouldn't focus on that. Juniper deal is going to close. Intel, we discussed on the negative side. View is going private, but it looks like it's a take under. We've seen 3 of those in 2 days, and I hadn't seen one of those in a really long time. MindMed selling shareholders. RNA is doing an offering. Blackstone. We have to watch this one because this is interesting because the last time this happened, the stock got smashed. But basically, one of their big real estate funds doesn't have enough cash flow to cover its dividend. Last time it was something more onerous, but I want to watch that for weakness. And Amazon walking away from that just walk out technology they were using in some of their Amazon Fresh stores. That's really it. I'm hoping we get a linear move, but I'm afraid that I think the market's at a flex point, and sometimes flex points take a little bit of time to resolve themselves. And so we'll see how that goes. I think the point of least resistance probably sound ridiculous, probably sideways. Okay. Anyway, that's it for me. I'm going to pass it to Spartan. If I see anything interesting, I'll let you guys know. Spartan, it's all yours.
Hey guys, what's going on? Just trying to find the unmute button. All right, so if you guys are here to chat, never done so, we should click on that Discord link, that's email. So you're gonna pop in a chat. It's gonna look something a little bit like this. First area to go to when you guys do come in, click on that disclaimer section, give it a read. So let's go to that new to chat information section, scroll to the very, very top. Top of the section, you'll link to the disclaimer as well as this bolded risk reward section. Super important to understand both in regards to risk reward, guys. Most important ratio in trading. Definitely worth checking out there. Continue to scroll down. We have the summary of how this chat works, breaks down the channels, work on the left-hand side. So we'll probably navigate the chat throughout the day. Important so you know where to be looking. Continue to scroll down. We have how to read alerts on the options and equity side, breaking down how to read alerts on both sides. Pretty straightforward in that regard. Below that, options roles, what you like to use Monday to Thursday in regards to controlling risks, scaling in, scaling out, trading different price contracts, etc., etc. SPX rules that we use every single day. Below this, we have any of the small account, less than 10K, break it down. If you do a smaller account, less than 10K, here's some rules, information, discipline you can put in place. You can better manage your account. How to pick ideas from an options or equity perspective below that. And lastly, high conviction small account trades posted in that area when they do make sense. Pre-market tickers on watch, guys. What do we got going on today? A couple different things. Tesla, SMCI, MSTR, Play, LGVC, and ABIO. So Tesla, gapping down. Elon with some negative comments on their Q1 after obviously the negative delivery numbers yesterday. SMCI gapping down is simply the market. MSTR gapping up is with Bitcoin. Play gapping up on their fiscal year 2023 financial results. LGVC, Global Venture Shares approve business combination with Nuvo Group. ABIO and Aruka Therapeutics entered definitive agreement to combine the companies in all stock transactions. Stocks gapping up. Let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint. Intraday. First two we're looking at, guys, Tesla, SMCI. Let's rip through these charts. All righty. So Tesla, guys, pivot to the downside today, 163.26, unable to hold 160.24 to 156.38, able to hold 167.50 to 170.51. New leaning bearish, looking for continuation lower. SMCI pivot to the upside today, 974.72 level holds 10.05, 10.49, unable to hold 933.87 to 9.05 on the downside. Leaning bullish only if that pivot point can hold. If it can't, I'm going to be looking for it to come in pretty good. MSTR and Play. Take a look at those two. So MSTR pivot 15.92, 69 level hold, 16.45, 17.01, unable to hold 15.28 to 14.62 on the downside, leading bullish on that. Let's take a look at Play. Pivot to the upside, 65.24, level hold 67.25, 69.29, unable to hold 62.86 to 60.89 on the downside, leading bullish neutral there. Let's take a look at LGVC and then ABIO. LGVC 23.22 pivot level holds 26.95 to 32.02, unable to hold 18.98 to 14.42 on the downside. Going to be leaning bullish, looking for a continuation push higher. ABIO 336 pivot level holds 377 to 435, unable to hold 287 to 244 on the downside. And leaning bullish neutral if that pivot point can hold. Let's take a look at the spine and FANG. All right, so let's go to this here. The SPY 518.11 pivot to the downside today, in my opinion. This level is unable to hold. Room lower into the 516.58 support. Breaks. We see the 515.07 tested. Pivot holds. Room higher into the 519.06 resistance. Breaks. We see the 520.31 tested. Leaning bullish, neutral. If it can hold. That's SPY. Let's take a look at the rest of the thing here. Apple, guys, pivot to the upside today. Going to be 1638, 168.38 level holds 170.30 to 171.96, unable to hold 166.88 to 165.58 on the downside, going to be leading bearish. That pivot point's unable to hold. Amazon pivot to the upside today, going to be on the 180.79 spot. That level is able to hold. Room towards 181.67 to 183.07, unable to hold 179.90 to 179.21. Actually, going to be leaning bullish. Looks pretty good, holding up fine. Netflix, same thing. Pivots to the upside today, 616.08 level hold 628.55, unable to hold 608.58, 605.38, downside leaning bullish neutral. Let's take a look at Meta. Pivot to the upside today, guys, is going to be the 497.40 level holds 521 to 503.45, unable to hold 495.14 to 492.51, downside leaning bullish neutral. Let's take a look at Google. Pivot to the upside today, 153.75 level holds 155.80 to 157.32, unable to hold 152.13 to 150.10, downside leaning bullish neutral there. Last but not least, VIX Qs and IWM. VIX 1496 pivot level holds 1524, 1565, unable to hold 1456, 1414 on the downside. QQQs. Pivot to the upside today is going to be the, or downside, I should say. 440.12, unable to hold 437.93. That level breaks. 436.18. Holds 441.96, 443.27 on the upside. Maybe leaning bearish neutral there. Sort of bullish neutral if the pivot point's able to hold there. It's able to spy. And then last but not least, SPX. Pivot to the upside today, or downside, I should say. 51.93 unable to hold, 51.83, 51.72 able to hold 52.03, 52.15 upside. Lean bearish neutral if that pivot point is unable to hold as well. That's a SPY, that's a FANG. Those are the individual names that I'm looking at today, guys. We'll see what happens. Thanks for popping into the YouTube stream, guys. We do this every single Wednesday. Check out the description of the video. We probably have a free trial in there you can click on and come into chat.